let's get into the NBA Finals because this should be.
Before we get to that, do you want to talk about Miami real quick?
We can. They lost to the Boston Celtics in 7. They had one heck of a season. I think that's the big thing that I would have pushed in terms of the Miami Heat. To deal with the injuries to Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero missed time. To not have that four play real minutes together throughout the regular season because of the injuries and COVID and things of that nature, to rack up the 1 seed in the East in spite of that is an amazing accomplishment. For Duncan Robinson to get the contract extension he did, to start the season the way that he had, he loses his starting spot to Max Strus, which is a testament to how good Max Strus was during the regular season and how good he was during the postseason. The shots didn't fall, but he held up defensively in a way that I did not anticipate him doing. To get that kind of season from him, to get the season they got from Gabe Vincent, the flashes that we saw from Victor Oladipo in the second half of the season and during the playoff run, there was so much goodness with this Heat team. And it stinks for them to bow out in 7 and lose, I think, 3 games on their home court throughout the series. Like, you zoom out, that ain't great. But 50-plus wins, a 1 seed, an elite defense, a very good offense overall, even with a questionable half-court offense. Like, they were almost there. And I don't know how much more we can say about Jimmy Butler at this point. The run that he had in the postseason, his ability to get downhill, the tough shots that he made, still having the energy to be a menace on and off the ball defensively. I think he's answered, like, can you win a title with Jimmy Butler as your best player? Yes. Yes, you can. I think you absolutely can. What I will say, and where I think that question in general gets a little bit skewed, it's like, yeah, you can win a title with Jimmy Butler as your best player. It just brings more importance into who your number 2, 3, 4 guy is. Like, he doesn't answer questions in a way that a Giannis does, for example. Like, Giannis is just better on both ends. But Jimmy is a tier below that. And so I feel like he's in that 9 to 12 range. And so with that, that's where you need your second option to be a little better. You need your third option to be better. And that's where the injuries really hurt. And that's where some of the half-court limitations for Bam right now, that hurts. Because I think Bam can be your second best player. I don't know if Bam can be your second best / second most reliable scorer. And I think that's what Miami needed, particularly with Hero dealing with the injuries and with Kyle Lowry still dealing with the hamstring stuff. They needed Bam to be a consistent number 2 in that way. And with the problems that Boston posed, he couldn't be that consistently. And some of that is on him. And just something that I've said in watch parties, on Twitter, on the podcast. Like, some of it is the mindset for him. He has to take the bull by the horn sometimes. But there are some limitations there that you hope another off the dribble threat can kind of alleviate. So Jimmy doesn't have to carry the way that he did in game 6 and in game 7 and in game 1 and portions of game 2, even though Boston just kind of blew that one out the water. And so if we're looking forward, I think Miami's big question is, okay, who can be our number 2 scorer? Not even necessarily their second best player. Because we know what Bam can do as a roller. We know what he can do as a playmaking hub. He is one of the 4 or 5 the best defenders on planet Earth. And I think he's a little bit better than that. But conservatively, he's a top 5 defender in the sport. I think he can absolutely be your second best player. I think Jimmy can be your best player. Figuring out 3, 4, 5, I think, is where Miami has to go. And that's going to factor into the thinking of the Tyler Hero extension. He's extension eligible this offseason. He just won 6th Man of the Year. You saw how important he was when he wasn't there. But can he be that guy? We don't know. What is the health of Kyle Lowry going to look like moving forward? We don't know. But overall, heck of a team, heck of a year. I don't think they're going anywhere.
Well, I mean, I don't think anyone anticipated Miami to do what they did this season, and they did it. They were in that position for a reason, through injuries to multiple players, and they were a game away. So I don't take anything away from the Miami Heat. What's interesting will be what do they do going forward. I think the biggest missing piece is, you wish you had been healthy through this loss, because now what's your next step? You didn't have a healthy Lowry. You didn't have a healthy Hero. You didn't have a healthy Jimmy. So it's not like you have the direct answer as to, is what we have flawed, or is this the move we should have made? I think with Bam, that game 7, that's the mindset you want to see from him. That's the aggression you want to see from him. And you have to now be able to understand what you have to do as a team to not just grind through the regular season, but to win in the playoffs. I thought they did enough to defeat the formula, so to speak, but you ran into a mirror series, and only one of y'all was going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
Both of you are good defensively. Both of you have flaws offensively. Only one was going to find a way to win. And unfortunately for Miami, they just couldn't put enough points on the board to get Boston to shift. And as you watch that series, that became the story of it. Would Miami be able to get it done? And to their credit, even to get it to 7 was something else.
Mm-hmm.
And to get it to a Jimmy Butler pull-up attempt. Because there were people leaving that arena. What was it? They were down 9 with 128 left, right?
Mm-hmm.
It felt like, oh, this is a wrap. Let me close my laptop up. Let me shut it down, and here comes Jimmy Butler about to pull up a 3, trying to win it. By the way, can we
Hey, you want to talk about the shot?
Can we just improve our discussion with these things, please? Man took a shot, tried to win it. Is that the end of the world? Like, yes. Al Horford wanted him to take that. No, he didn't. No player wants anyone to take a 3 when you're up 2. Let's just communicate that very loudly. There's not a player, even if you're playing on someone's strengths, you don't want that person to take a pull-up 3 in front of your face when you're only up 2. So just throw that over the top rope. But Jimmy Butler is going to be a very interesting player to analyze going forward. Like the things he's done record book wise.
Yeah.
Like he's like Dirk without the hate. Like what you can't throw his resume over the top rope. You can't say he's not X, Y, Z, but also he just doesn't have a ring. Mm. Like what's missing for Jimmy?
He's got the all NBA selections. He's got the all defensive selections. Like he's multi-time All-Star. He's led a team to the finals and had a ridiculous series in that finals. He just terrible series against Milwaukee last year, and he bounces back with this. And that's kind of I feel like the underrated portion of this Jimmy thing. Like he was rightfully criticized for what happened against Milwaukee. He just did not have it. Look, Bryn Forbes outscored him 4 series. Milwaukee put Giannis on him, and there went the pick and roll. There went the pick and rolls. Like that happened. And then he bounces back with dominating Atlanta, dominating Philly, ridiculous game 1, solid game 2, gets hurt in the middle of game 3, and he was already dealing with the knee stuff anyway. Very objectively bad stretch 3 through 5. And that matters as well. But then game 6 happens. And the game 7 happens. What did Jimmy have in the first half of game 7? Like what, 24 or something like that in the first half? With Miami kind of dead in the water beyond him and Bam? Like that. I don't know how you play the result with Jimmy at this point. That man's just good.
You play the result because it's easier. And speaking of playing the result, where are the folks who said Ime Udoka shouldn't be a coach halfway through the season? Where are they? Can you point them out to me? Can you find them for me?
ISO.
I haven't heard anything from them. All the energy was, oh man, he's terrible. Get him out of here. This man's in the finals in year 1. Stay patient with coaches. Understand the process. They found a way to get it done. And have an appreciation for Boston's playoff run. This is a team that's incredibly difficult for some people to quantify or understand because it's non-traditional. They're a very good team. We can both agree on that, right, Nekias?
Mm-hmm.
They have one of the best defenses in the league. I think you have the Nekialytics on that.
They finished first in defensive rating this year.
Interesting. All right. Offensively, they turned a corner once the year turned. You right, Nekias?
Yes, they did.
Okay, so they got better as the year went along. Very good on both ends of the floor, but they have flaws. And these flaws are things we can all see, whether it's you, me, or anyone watching the TV. They have flaws. They almost forgot how much they were leading by against Miami in that Game 7. But they've worked through those flaws. They've executed at a different level. And that becomes a difficult team to evaluate once you get to this time of the year. Because usually we're talking finals time, it's championship time. Here's this team. They're great because of X, Y, Z. How many people know why Boston's really great?
That's a good question.
How many people appreciate what this Boston run is? It's not necessarily we just bring this to the table and we win. They have to grind through this. Offensively, they have the talent. They have the superstars. They have the space. They have the lineups, but they also have to create things. Defensively, they're elite, but they also have to figure things out. And look at this playoff run. Look what they did to Kevin Durant. This is no disrespect to KD. Please do not throw me over the top rope on Twitter. It's just a funny statement. Sorry. But the activity they had and game plan wise to make everything difficult on him. And then offensively, we're going to attack your pressure points. We're going to use our size to an advantage. We win this series. Now you face Giannis. And you have to face a Milwaukee defense that's saying, hey, we're going to put 2 on the ball. We're going to protect the paint. We'll throw some drop in there. How are you guys going to figure that out? Like offensively, that was my question mark for this Boston team. Can they figure it out? And they found a way to get to their flow, get to their tempo, create offense out of that, survive those moments, and thrive. And this Miami series, a mirror series. And while the offensive execution wasn't perfect, they knew what they had to do. Hey, we have Jason Tatum. We'll attack those matchups. We'll get the pressure points. Dribble penetration was the great equalizer for Boston in this series. Whenever things broke down, cut, drive, force help, kick, play out of it. And they consistently found those pressure points as that series progressed. And that allowed them to hold a 8 to 10 point lead for what felt like forever in that game. Until the end. They were constantly just like, oh, you guys are coming. Here comes the point. Here comes a bucket. Here we go. That deserves respect. And to look at making the trade and shortening the roster and shortening the rotation, and now you have the contributions of Derek White, who looked like he shouldn't be in the playoff rotation to some, to being an impact player in this conference final series. You look at getting Peyton Pritchard, who was on the bench during the season. He was on the bench. He was seated. And you make the trade, now you have his contributions going forward. You have multiple bigs. You have Al Horford contributing. You have Jalen and Jason Tatum contributing at a high level. You unlocked Marcus Smart on both ends of the floor. You trusted what you believe in. So I would say to anyone who was out here saying Ime Udoka doesn't know what he's doing, you should reevaluate how you think about the game of basketball. Sorry, I don't make the rules.
Big bars. That's what I'm talking about. Talk your talk. Major props to Duncan. Major props to this Boston team. Not going to rehash everything. You just hit on the entire team. Aside from Grant Williams, he's been really good. But
oh, my bad.
It's fine. I'm just
wait. I went on a 10-minute rant and forgot about Grant Williams.
He contributed to KD having the rough series that he had. Also gave Giannis some trouble. And Bam did not have fun against Grant Williams, which that was just a very under the radar thing. So much fun reading multiple pieces about how Grant Williams has basically been guarding Bam since they were youngsters. And so like now it makes even more sense. Like one, Grant's just a good defender, period. But the fact that Grant's been defending Bam since high school, like no wonder Bam didn't have like Grant's already really good defensively. Bam has some shot creation stuff that he has to work through. You add in the added experience before they even got in the league. And when they faced each other, when I guess Grant was in Kentucky, Grant was in Tennessee, Bam was in Kentucky. You add in that too, it's just like, okay, it probably makes sense why Bam versus Grant Williams wasn't the mismatch you might think it might be. That's very cool. This is a pro Grant Williams podcast, as you can see.